Okay, we are back. This is Seth again, and I'm here with Lisa Wilhoit, who did the voice of Connie D'Amico, among others.
Hello.
And Steve Callaghan, who wrote this fabulous episode.
Oh, you're too kind.
Yeah.
Corner there. And that'll just be our little secret. And if you tell anyone that that bush is there, I will come to your house and I will cut you. Oh, jeez, mine doesn't look anything like his. Ah, to hell with it.
Boy, that brings back memories, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. And not even necessarily of this show. So do you comment during the opening credits?
Yeah, you comment wherever you want.
Okay.
Can we sing?
You can sing, Lisa. Feel free to sing along.
That's a man who was a pig. Seth, you should sing it. You're singing
God.
3 voices on this.
Well, come on now.
Oh, and there's the famous effin' cry or laughin' cry.
We established that. People think it's F and cry. It is actually laugh and cry.
I'm sure you said that 8 times by now.
Yeah.
So this whole Clam Day sequence,
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, was originally written as something entirely different. And then we rewrote it.
A lot of New England flavor in this episode.
Oh, totally, especially in this opening sequence.
Very realistic.
I think so.
Brian is frozen.
What? Yeah. What the hell is?
I don't know. There's a lot of glitchy things like that in this episode. It's our first episode with Adam West.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much.
He was an excellent sport, and he came back and did like 4 or 5 more episodes.
Is this one of the early episodes?
This is what is it? Second season?
It's season 2, episode 8 of season 2. 2ACX08
Wow.
is its production number.
See, this is his special talent.
have all
He
the
can
production-
recite,
All the production numbers memorized.
does that really on dates? Like, is that something that really?
Oh
for
yes,
you?
that gets me a lot of mileage with the women.
I'm sure.
But wait, back to Adam West. I remember meeting Adam in the record that day, and I was very fascinated to meet him because I was always a huge Batman fan, and it was a very special moment for me.
I think I could just see that guy's ass when the clam was pulling him up.
Oh, it's very possible.
Yeah. It's funny. We were developing a show for Adam when I was at Hanna-Barbera that never went anywhere, but we were having trouble getting a hold of him, so we called him up and finally got him at home, and I said, geez, Adam, it's like trying to get a hold of Pentagon to reach into, and he goes, well, Seth, our nation's security is my top concern. So what are you doing right now? I'm pouring some dog food into a bowl.
This is another Seth voice in this episode. It's the Magic Clam.
What's your voice?
It was
I think so.
Do you do any girls? You do the.
Lisa.
You do
That's
a lot
very
of them.
loaded question.
Oh gosh.
Don't answer that one.
I don't know how you mean that, but I consider myself extremely respectable. I think I can do a passable Edith Bunker. That's about it. There's a lot of debate as to how the clam should talk, as I remember, like whether it should move its shell or just wiggle around inside.
Absolutely. And yeah, whether
it's like
it
a
should.
tongue.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
how big the clam should be.
Yeah.
I remember there was an extended debate about that. And here's the thing I was talking about, where the voice is one actor and the crying is the second actor. Is another little glitch.
Yeah, a lot of mistakes in Family Guy. A lot of really.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, I've watched this episode a million times.
Have you really?
So I've had an opportunity
Because you wrote it?
every time
God,
someone
you always had like a big ego, Steve.
I know you don't mean that. No, people come over to the house. They're like, "Oh, we gotta watch your episode." I've seen it, plenty of times. Lisa, one of your voices coming up?
Oh yeah. I haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Ronald McDonald, I guess we establish, is a stern taskmaster.
Sure.
We're mentioning that Mila would come in and regale us with, would gab for about maybe 25 to 30 minutes before we actually got any work done.
Is he wearing earrings?
Chris?
Yeah.
Yes. He's wearing an earring, and it's actually funny you mention that because we got rid of that
in the third season, right?
We were high here.
Embarrassing.
Didn't it one? Does he have 2 earrings?
He has.
It seems
he's supposed to have one, but
I think there's 2. I couldn't tell if it was his earlobes or not.
I think at different points he has 1, and different points he has 2.
Yeah, in the third season he doesn't have any, but it was from Chris's early persona before the show was sold as like more of a punker kind of guy.
Right. Oh,
Meg's sleepover.
Meg's sleepover. Do you know what I'm about to say? I think you do.
What?
Well, one of the girls at the sleepover
is designed after
my wife. I actually brought photographs into the animators of my wife, and they modeled the character after.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's the one on the right, I think.
It's the blonde.
Does your wife wear like a big blue barrette?
Every day. I make her wear it.
I think that may even be you doing the voice of Steve's wife, Lisa.
Oh, I think it might be.
Because I knew I did one of those girls.
Yeah, she has a speaking
I think that may be the one.
Scene coming up, and I'm stuck on the stairs.
What the hell?
I remember God getting a phone call from a hot chick. I think that was a Ricky Blitt contribution, actually.
Yeah. Wasn't there an extended version of that gag?
I believe there was.
That none of us can remember.
There were a lot of things that were cut from this. Well, I mean, from all the episodes. But I remember later there was an extended scene with Brian that was cut. I'll mention it when we get there. But I sort of missed it. Here's where Chris is supposed to be laughing, but there's no audio.
It's just robotic.
Okay, here's Lisa. Here's you as my wife's image. Is that your voice?
Yeah, that's my voice.
Jesus. Stewie counseling
young adolescent girls.
How old is he supposed to be?
Stewie is supposed to be 1.
Yeah, in fact, there's even a reference in this show to him, sort of an oblique reference to his age. Peter actually says Shazam when he climaxes. It's a little fact that we've... Little window into his soul.
Chris's hair looks green at night, if you notice.
Family scared them away. I just wish there was some way I can make them understand how embarrassing they are.
Welcome back to Diane. Erica, it's time for Mario.
No, this
is a bit that was actually part of another episode. Do you remember this? This whole bit of I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm a horse, I'm a broom. Yeah. This idea was conceived as part of the third act of a different episode that got kind of shelved. It was originally going to be part of the Weinstein episode. Peter,
which did not air.
Which did not air, but initially in that Peter was going to become a wrestler, and it went a whole different direction. Oh, there's also some characters here that we recognize from other episodes.
Oh, the salesman, the front row.
And Guillermo, and the soccer parent on the right. And there's a pan shot coming up later where there's other characters like that too.
How did you get these tickets again?
Let's bring them up right now.
Meg, whatever problems we have can be settled.
Funny as Lori actually talks like that. She actually
has that.
Speaks with that news anchor's sense of refinement.
She does enough work like that, I'm sure it's rubbed off. No commercials, I love it.
We should put some in just for the hell of it.
It's kind of funny to see the commercials that aired actually during this show. For like Gladiator.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The movie?
The movie, yeah. Dates it very much.
The dog's drinking a martini.
Yes,
He does
that's
that
his
often.
favorite beverage.
Seth, do you want to talk about this?
Oh yes, this was a gag from my student film.
And part
Wait
of
a minute. This was in the pilot too.
Yeah, this isn't. No, it wasn't in the pilot. It was
But
in
you
the
know,
pilot
we put it back
presentation.
into the one that is on this DVD set. So this gag actually appears twice in
Really?
this DVD set. Yeah, boy, is that embarrassing.
Yeah, it was in the pilot presentation, but in
Wow.
the show that actually aired, it was taken out.
We liked it so much that we put it in twice.
Well, it's a funny gag. That's hilarious.
Right. I should mention where Brian says, "Ha ha ha, that's hilarious." That's how Steve here used to laugh in the writers' room, and
So it's
when something amused him.
this is really a very thinly veiled impression of me.
The floor is green there.
What? This scene was added late. This was like in one of the last rewrites. We were on Tuesdays by this time. One of 6 or 7, literally 6 or 7 different time slots that Family Guy occupied in its short run.
I think there was even an 8th day of the week that they put us on.
I think so. Catil's Day.
Oh, this is
Oh, this is cool.
we did like a handheld camera thing here where we did this in post.
That's really cool.
Thing.
The real world handwritten.
I think this, well, again, I'll mention it when we get there, but I think this might have been one of the first episodes to have a reference to Stewie's gender confusion.
Oh, the fact that Stewie
Might
Right.
be gay. And as many times as I've seen this episode, I'm still not 100% sure what's on these plates that Lois is presenting to them.
That food was, what is it, like half a cantaloupe and...
Looks like pancakes.
See, to me,
Yeah.
it looks like a lemon wedge and a beehive.
Kind of does. I was seeing honeycomb.
Yeah. I guess it's pancakes.
All right, here we are. The real world confessionals.
This is one of my favorite parts of the episode.
This is where we first, I think, started steering away from Stewie's taking over the world motive and just making him into a big queen.
Yeah. But just sort of generally giving him more
Yeah,
layers
yeah.
and
Right.
more to play than just that one thing.
I'm not sure where I stand sexually.
We did get us some mileage out of that.
Yeah, we did.
See, there he is with the 2 earrings.
This is the Griffins not really knowing what to say in front of the camera.
I kind of like that side of them.
Yeah.
The quiet side.
Yeah. Well, just the not always having the witty line at their immediate disposal.
Right, there. That makes them real.
Yes. We did this a fair amount too, where there would be some action happening in the background that was actually the joke.
Lengthy scenes with just mindless dialogue, but the joke was going on.
Well, actually, that dialogue wasn't entirely mindless
No.
too. There were jokes within it too. So, but I
Right.
loved seeing Stewie's action in the background. Now, this is a
is
very.
where-
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So it's a very tiny part of the scene, but she refers to her teacher as Mr. Taylor, who actually was a beloved teacher of mine at my high school.
Really?
Yeah, good guy. He was like 6'9", my
There's,
chemistry teacher. So
Lisa as Meg's replacement. New Meg.
Cool, Meg.
I think this is also one of the first times Loretta says, Cleveland's wife says something other than,
yeah, we kind of. She was pretty one-dimensional for a little while, but then we found some more things to do with her. I love the out-of-focus stuff too. It's great. Chris has no nipples here.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't. They I don't think we couldn't afford them.
Either that or it was a standards issue.
And here's camera. Camera can't stay off New Meg.
I love the glasses. Very Lolita-ish.
Just has no idea what to do with himself.
This madam thing was also added very late. This is like, we have different stages which we'll be rewriting.
I barely remember that show.
Really? Oh, really? Oh,
I remember seeing it in snippets, but what a weird program that was.
Oh, totally. Well, I actually don't remember the program as much as I remember Waylon Flowers and Madam on Hollywood Squares. And it always seems so bizarre to me. But obviously very successful guy with that doll. Oh, Quagmire.
He's accustomed to having sex on his kitchen counter.
Apparently so.
Oh no.
How much do you remember much of this
They're just
dialogue,
fun.
Lisa?
Yeah, I remember it now.
Yeah, when it's kind of come back to you.
Yeah.
The camera guy's just racing upstairs.
Yeah, I know. After the hot chick.
Even though she's just going to be by herself in her room.
Writing in her journal.
Oh, Peter's sitcom.
Exactly. And here comes his big catchphrase. Much to the delight of the imagined studio audience.
I think we actually brought in a studio audience for that, believe it or not.
Come on.
Well, I had to be authentic. And I'm completely lying about that, but
Philip Seymour Hoffman is who she's referring to.
Ah.
Now, I don't know how many people got this, but these two lines were specifically chosen because they're sort of emblematic. Very stilted and sort of typical Stewie and Brian lines. And of course, this is an obvious reference to the pilot. This scene is exactly out of the pilot.
Oh, right.
Just
Yeah,
with,
yeah, yeah.
you know, Fran Drescher, Tom Arnold doing it.
I think that's Alex doing Fran Drescher. I'd say.
It is. So ironic, she would say, I do not sound like that. This is also very Family Guy coming up.
Right. This is our moment of shit.
Totally.
Our hard moment.
Well, which we would often mock, just as we're about to do.
Just.
Okay, now this book, if you really think about it, is backward. Books don't open like that.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, which is interesting because the show was animated in Korea, and you read backwards over there. So all of our books.
That actually was a joke, by the way, that I thought for sure the network would make us cut out about him mocking religion.
Mocking the Bible.
Yeah.
They always had trouble with that.
Yeah. So I was happy that it stayed. Hey, I know that guy.
Yeah.
And her too.
Hey, we know all these people.
I know. My God, it's crazy. My Pentiment.
All right.
That was fun.
That was fun, wasn't it?
Except I didn't know who you were talking about half the time, but that's okay.
Walter Murphy, I just saw his name, and he's, of course, famous for The Fifth of Beethoven.
From Saturday Night Fever.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Big hit for old Walter Murphy. And that's your production company. Do you want to tell us why it's called Fuzzy Door?
I'll wait till the next.
Oh, okay.